Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Meaningful Motivations with Tracy Erickson. And of course, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy Erickson, and I'm just going to be cleansing my tarot decks that I use regularly here on YouTube on all of my subscribers out there. So I have the Psychic Tarot deck and the Queen of the Moon Oracle and the Wisdom of the Oracle here that need to be cleansed. So I decided to actually cleanse these decks with you guys here because a lot of times when I'm doing something like this, channeled messages come through. And I just felt called to cleanse my decks and also give a message, a channeled message on cleansing and releasing all of those things from our past that is just no longer serving us at this time. So if you're here for it, great. I just want you to be comfortable and relaxed so that you can be receptive to this message. Because I feel if you are drawn to this message and if it resonates with you, that this is a message that your spirit wants you to hear right now. I actually just cleansed my Rider-Waite deck the other day. So this deck is all cleansed, ready to go, and every single card is in order the way it's supposed to be. So I'm about to shuffle these cards for the first time since I cleared the deck the other day. And so I'm just going to shuffle until I feel like I've done enough shuffling to really clear all of the old unwanted energies and, previous programming. And I might just speak of whatever comes to mind while I do this. I've actually listened to this Wayne Dyer lecture multiple times in my life. I think it's called It's Never Crowded Along the Extra Mile, but I have it on CD, and it's like an 8 CD set that I will just play loudly in the house while I'm doing chores, for instance. So it's something that I've listened to quite often because I find it to be inspiring and uplifting, and it just makes me feel good and it makes me think better thoughts, if that makes sense. But one thing that I love about this lecture by Wayne Dyer was his metaphor of the past, present, and future. He would compare the past, present, and future with the boat that is traveling along the water. So the boat has an engine and it's moving in a particular direction. And the boat also leaves a wake behind. So Wayne Dyer would say that the past is the wake, the present is the motor, which is propelling the thing forward into the future. And the future is whatever direction you want to aim the boat. So that is a beautiful, to me, metaphor. And it's true that we can, with our free will, we can aim our future to go whatever direction we want to go based on our free will choices, right? And the past is the wake. It can't really be changed. It's already happened. And it's leaving its imprint behind. So the wake is strongest near the engine, the present moment, right? But as you continue moving forward, the wake gets weaker and weaker until finally it doesn't exist. So the past really can't be changed. It can affect us more in the present. And yes, time does make things of the past fade some, but it's still a part of who we are and the path that we're traveling right now and into the future. So I feel like that's a message that we all need to remember, is that the thing that is controlling both the past and the future is the current present moment. The now moment, every single now moment, is what is controlling both the past and the future. Because without that motor, the present moment, you wouldn't have been back there in the past, and you wouldn't be heading anywhere in the future. Okay, so since this deck was already cleansed, I'm just going to shuffle now 3 times, cut the deck, and draw 3 cards for the present moment, the current energies of my collective here on YouTube. 2 more shuffles. The first card, Judgment. Yeah. Whenever it's time to cleanse and release what is no longer serving you, it is a time of judgment. I feel like a lot of you may be called now because the trumpet in the image is awakening these naked bodies from these coffins, right? So the Judgment card is almost like a spiritual divine calling to give yourself a rebirth, to give yourself a chance to have a clean slate again. I think that's really what that's about. It's about having no shame for who you are. They're naked, but they all stood up and their arms are outstretched. They have no shame for who they are. I think the message that I'm receiving right now regarding judgment is that no matter what you did in the past, no matter what mistakes you made, those things that you've done, the places you've been, have created the person you are today. And I feel like a lot of you are being called to move in a certain direction or to go in a new direction. The next card was the Hermit reversed. Interesting to get 2 major arcana. You saw how many times I shuffled the deck. With the Hermit card being reversed, I do feel like you've already kind of gathered some of the wisdom that you need here when it comes to this reawakening of yourself. I feel like now is the time to actually, instead of going in, it's time to put yourself out there. And then we have the 5 of Wands. The 5 of Wands could be an opposing idea. I feel like during this reawakening and putting yourself out there, sometimes you have all these opposing ideas coming at you all the time. And it actually becomes chaotic and confusing at times. So the obstacle or the challenge of this 5 of Wands is to stand true in who you are, no matter what direction things are coming at you. No matter what other people think. Because now you're standing firm in who you are, no matter what opposing forces are coming at you at this time. Or that's the message that I'm seeing here from those 3 cards. All right. I just want to go ahead and cleanse all of these decks, and I'm going to be channeling as well as looking at cards from time to time. I'm going to start with the Psychic Tarot deck here. This is the deck that I use as the main message for the monthly tarot readings here on my channel. So I'm going to go ahead and cleanse this deck. The way that I like to cleanse decks is I just put them in order that they belong. And this particular deck, the cards are numbered, but they also have these different color borders around them. So see how these have 2 different colored borders. So I'm going to first put them in their correct color. And then I'm going to be putting them in the correct numerical order. So this is more of a process to do this deck. This was one of the cards that I showed, and it's the number 5 as well, kind of like the 5 of Wands. And the message that I'm getting right now is that I feel like there is something that you need to release or let go of from the past, but it's something that may not even be in your life anymore. I think it's just something you hold in your heart from the past. Even if it's no longer in your life, I feel like it's important right now to emotionally withdraw from that. That was the next green card that I put down after emotional loss. I think emotionally it's time to withdraw from this thing that may not actually even be in your life, but it is in your heart. It's been weighing on your mind. It's just time to move away from that, to stop using your present moment, the motor. Don't use your present moment on that anymore. I feel like the reason you've been doing it is like in times where you're not sure what to do with yourself, it's like your mind goes back there. So it's time to just release the past, the thing from your past that could be, if this is resonating with you, it's just something from your past that you've been thinking about, that you've focused on for so long that it's almost like you'll have to emotionally lose it again to let it go from your mind, not just your physical life. I feel like it's something that's already not in your life anymore, but you're hanging on to the past. It's time to face whatever heartache and loss by recognizing the lesson in the whole situation. What can you learn as a soul by going through this? Because I feel like whatever the situation is for you, that the whole reason of going through it was so that you could experience suffering that can give you a new perspective, okay? Sometimes we have to go through periods of suffering to understand something about ourselves. And that's what this is about. But I feel like you've already done enough of the suffering to gain a higher perspective. Even if you don't think so, Spirit is telling me you've gained enough perspective from the pain that now it's time to just release those memories of love or whatever, those memories of the past. See how they're lit, but it's almost like the person who's holding this last candle is letting it go. And then it can give a whole new meaning to the type of energy that it brings to you. And I think that once you get past the emotional loss feeling of it all, you're going to gain even more wisdom from that life experience, seeing it from more of a distance. There's like this little family over here in the distance, and this guy's looking at them. He's also holding this book. I feel like if you detach yourself emotionally from the past situation that you've been focusing on, you'll be able to see it from more of a distance and be able to gain even more wisdom from that, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's time to step into a new beginning. And really the only way you're going to be able to is to let this old thing go. Because you're letting the past actually, you're letting the past disrupt your present. This guy is in a straitjacket in the image. No, he's not, but he's in this kind of body language. I thought it was a straitjacket. But this even through this disruption that's taking place, the past coming in, I feel like the wounds are where the light comes in. Have you ever heard that saying by Rumi, the poet? He says that wounds are where the light gets in. So without these emotional wounds, you would just be in your own little bubble and you wouldn't have recognized what you did. So again, that's confirmation that this was all about a lesson. It's possible that you already knew you were going to go through this type of lesson before you even came here in this lifetime. Right as I was saying that, the card Destiny. So let that sink in. Maybe you already knew that you were going to go through this emotional loss, whatever that is for you. It's like you already knew you were going to go through this before you even came here. And if it has to do with another person, I feel like you both knew this was going to happen as a soul. So from a soul perspective, especially if it has to do with someone else where you feel like there was an instant connection when you met them, like you just saw something in them right away. But in the present moment, even though it was destined at one time, since it's part of the past and something you need to release, even if it's not a person, it could be any kind of temptation or addiction, anything like that. It's time to release it now because it's more than a disruption now. It's a straight on temptation to be locked into your lower self. It's like you're locking yourself into that lower desire. And it's making it hard to see straight. It's like you're now so focused in the shadow that you can't even see the light. So it is going to be the most beneficial thing to literally just let it go. Especially if it's not currently in your present situation. It's time to let go of the past. Stop looking behind you while you're trying to steer the motor forward into the future. This is a good way to learn that you're missing a card. I'll put the blue border off to the side in case I put it in a different pile. See, sometimes you just have to let things go. Sometimes things remove themselves from our lives, right? As soon as you let go of the past and the things that didn't really work out in the way that you wanted them to, that's when the new can begin and new things can flow to you. So we have to, my dog started barking right as I was saying this, that you have to release the old to make room for the new. I think they're over it. So yeah, the message here, confirmed by the barking, is that it's so important right now, spiritually speaking, energetically speaking, to release the old so that you can make room for the new. You have to first release what is no longer serving you so that you can make space in your life for something new to come in, right? You can't keep adding to something that's already full. It's official. I'm missing card blue border number 7. So now I know because I've cleansed my deck. As I was editing this video, I decided to go back to the Psychic Tarot Oracle Deck's guidebook to see exactly what the message is from the card that is missing from my deck. And the card is the number 7, Deception and Envy. So it is possible that some of you out there may have someone in your life whose mask has recently slipped, and this person isn't really who you thought that they were. And it's possible that maybe you're friends with someone who is actually jealous of you, or, looking at you with envy. It could be that you're also being manipulated, because deception is a word that can include things like manipulation and gaslighting. So this could be something that needs to be released from your life as well. But the message here says, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. This card comes at a time when individuals or conditions aren't what they appear to be. How well do you really know the people around you? Are they telling you everything you need to know? In business, make sure you gather all of the necessary information so that you're aware of and understand all the facts before continuing. You've worked hard. Don't let others take from you what is rightfully yours. Unfortunately, some people may be envious of your accomplishments. This card also represents a time of sudden and unexpected changes, or when plans that you're undertaking may not turn out exactly the way you envisioned. Have a plan B as a fallback strategy to prevent future problems. Use this as a reminder to be prepared. It's better safe than sorry. All right, so now it's time to move on to the next deck. I think next I'm just going to do Wisdom of the Oracle. And this one just goes by numbers to be in order. The one that I just hesitated the most on was the New Life card. And the number here is 39, which 3 plus 9 is 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So I do feel like with the number digiting down to 3 and it's saying new life, now is the time for you to create a whole new direction for your life. It's time to take the past off the pedestal and put yourself on the pedestal, and it will breathe new life into your experiences. I feel like part of the reason why it's hard to let go is because at times you feel left behind. Maybe this resonates for some of you. Like the orphaned energy, it's like you just feel like lonely. It's lonely energy. Someone who's been left behind or forgotten, right? But if you notice in the image, she's sitting in her own nest here. So it's like, it's a state of mind that's being created by the character in the image itself. So if some of you need to hear that your feeling of being alone or abandoned or orphaned in some way is a state of mind that you've created in your own thinking that kind of bleeds out into your life experience. And that needs to be released and recognized. And you need to learn to create a happy mindset for yourself with this milk and honey card. And now I'm going to cleanse the Queen of the Moon Oracle and see what kind of messages come out while I do that regarding cleansing and releasing things from the past. The discernment card comes up as one that is very important when it comes to cleansing and releasing. So this is about knowing at a deeper level beyond your physical senses why something is or is not good for you. So it's going to be important for you as you cleanse and release what you think is no longer serving you to really feel for that, to use your inner discernment. It's like a decision-making intuition. Your discernment will let you know if something that seems great, fun, and just nothing, a harmless good time on the outside. Your own inner discernment will tell you that, even if it seems harmless, is it really? So it's going to be important for you as you move through this time of release to use that discernment to not necessarily just look at the outer shell of what you're releasing, but to look at the deeper spiritual impact that it's having on you, And we got another wisdom card. So again, it's like using the wisdom that you've gained through all of your life experiences to know that even if something is fun and seemingly harmless on the outside, you know deep within if it's good for you or not, and if it's something worth keeping or letting go. And if you don't know that, this is your message to actually take the time to reflect on that. I saw this purity card and I definitely got a message because when I put on my sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now, it's white, which is the color of purity, right? I was about to change this sweatshirt when I put it on because when I looked down, I saw a very dim spot on the front here. And I thought to myself, no, it's okay. It's not worth tossing out quite yet, right? And then it reminded me that there are certain parts of us that maybe we don't need to let go of the whole thing. We just need to let go of the parts that we have the stained parts. Does that make sense? It's time to purify ourselves from those things that we've done that were mindless, that might have muddied up our purity. It's like when you set a boundary for yourself, for instance, like I want to do X, Y, Z. You have a goal, but then you kind of break free from it. The first time you break free, it's not so bad. You feel like you can maybe get back on track. But then the more you get off track, the harder it is to get back on track. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that with our purity, right? Spiritually speaking. Sometimes as the animals we are, as humans, we do things that might put a little stain on our purity, our innocence. And there are those of us who might throw the whole thing away when something gets stained, and there are some of us who want to cleanse it, clean it, and make it pure again. So part of the cleansing and releasing of what is no longer serving you at this time is to bring yourself back to that place of innocence and purity where you can start again. It's like giving yourself a clean slate to create from. So let's just get a final piece of advice now that this deck is cleansed. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 shuffles, and then we'll see what advice comes out regarding a good cleanse and release of what no longer serves us at this time. What do my viewers and subscribers have to hear right now regarding whatever it is that they need to cleanse and release at this time? All right. All right. The Fear card came out, along with Darkness. And then we got Blossoming. I feel like as you release the fear of the unknown, because you've lived with this thing that you want to release. You've lived with this thing or this part of you, whatever it is, for so long that this fear is just of the unknown. It's of, because with this darkness, it's like there's this sense of ignorance. You don't know what to expect. But if you just follow your own music here, you're going to create something new. This is also the number 33. So it's all about making the right choices and aligning yourself with a higher vibration. So with this blossoming, the flower moon, and she's playing the violin, I feel like you're going to realize that things are going to turn out so much more beautiful, more balanced and aligned than you ever thought possible. And it's all going to be in your own creating. You are going to create this as you learn to let go of the fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty, and just embrace, again, like we talked about at the very beginning with that Judgment card, embrace your own uniqueness. Because it's like your own uniqueness is the one little instrument in the whole orchestra. But without that one little instrument playing just right in tune to what it's meant to be, it can throw off the whole thing. Your whole life calling, it could throw it all off. So until you can let go and release what is no longer serving you, you're going to continue living in this cloak of fear and uncertainty. It's like you're creating what it is you don't want, fear and uncertainty, in your thinking by not being your own unique instrument in this universe that is, meant to play the way it's meant to play in a specific way. So the message right now is to embrace who you are, embrace your own sovereignty, to stop making decisions based on other people, places, or things, and to see yourself as whole and complete just as you are. The card right under it was self-love, you guys. All right, well, all of my tarot decks that I use here are now cleansed and cleared of any negative and unwanted energies. And so now I'm going to go ahead and sage them, because once you've cleared the decks, you want them also to be in an environment that's energetically cleansed as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you to the spirit of this sage for allowing me to use its sacred smoke to cleanse this space and these cards of any previous programming or unwanted energies. Also, thank you for cleansing my aura of any negativity or unwanted past experiences. All right. So once I've cleansed my decks and reflected on any spiritual message that come through, I like to give them one final cleansing with the smoke. And once I've done the smoke cleanse on all of the decks as well, then I will end up just going through and giving each of these decks just a bunch of shuffles for no reason. Let the decks just shuffle freely with no intention behind the shuffling. And that's basically how I do it. But the message today that we received while doing this little spiritual exercise is that you're feeling called to reawaken yourself in a new way, to reinvent yourself, to put yourself out there with your own new perspective, regardless of the opposing forces, even within yourself, because sometimes we doubt ourselves, and so therefore we get all of these different opposing ideas trying to cloud our own judgment. So discernment's going to be huge at this time as you release what is no longer needed in your life, and then use that discernment to make choices in the future that are in alignment with what it is you want to recreate. All right, you guys. Thank you all so much for being here and spending your time with me. If you're still here, don't forget to click the like button for me. And if you're a viewer but not yet a subscriber, I would love for you to click subscribe down below so you can then become part of this collective here and be energetically linked in to all of the channeled messages and tarot readings and all those things that take place here on my channel. So thank you all so much for being here and spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.